Hi, how you all doing? Welcome back to Where Rams Walk. 20 minutes of Derby County chat. On the programme this week, we are asking, is Harvey Nibs on his way to Derby? Plus all those other transfer rumours rounded up for you. We're asking these guys to choose their December player of the month. We've asked AI to predict all Derby County home game fixtures. What's the final total? And will it keep Derby up? We'll get that at the end of the video. And we are choosing, because January's so rubbish, the worst ever Derby starting 11 in the Championship era. We're getting Kieran and Peyton to start their ball rolling on that by choosing the worst goalkeeper they've ever seen in a Derby top. Kieran and Peyton are back with us. Thank you very much for watching. Do drop us a subscribe and a like. We've been going out for 3 months. It's so hard to start any new content. But this is 20-minute magazine style of all stuff Derby. We've got no football to talk about, sadly, Kieran, because of course the game was postponed because of conditions. Were you heading down there anyway?
No, thankfully not. No. I think given now we've had the draw, I think it's for the best, because I think Paul Warne's going to change his approach. Reason being, a sellout Pride Park against Man City, it doesn't matter if it's a cookie scoreline. It doesn't matter if they beat us 10-0. If we can get a tie against Man City, it'll be some extra transfer funds, and we can maybe get one person in extra on loan or something like that. So, yeah, listen, I heard Paul Warne was going to make quite a few changes, but now I'm hoping we go full on.
Yeah, there's two ways of looking at drawing Man City, isn't there, Peyton? One, you can look at it going, oh, well, that's us out, so why bother against Leyton Orient? And then there's another way of looking at it, well, yeah, there's a fixture that is one for the youngsters, and it's a good chance to test your mettle against the very best. Which way do you look at it?
I think I look at it a little bit in the middle. Obviously, they are Man City. They've won the Champions League. They've got the person that won the Ballon d'Or. They've got probably the best striker in the world, a lot of other things. But I mean, at the end of the day, on any day, any team can beat anyone. I mean, look at Tamworth. They took Tottenham 101 minutes to score against them. And Tamworth are, well, tiny in comparison to Burton, and they're tiny in comparison to us. So, I mean, anything can happen. And it'd be interesting that if we are to make it through in the Cup, which I wouldn't say it's a likely thing, but we've got a good chance, that game is a good thing for all kinds of fans, with Man City being such a big club for young fans now, and more young fans supporting them because of their success. Having young Derby fans come to Derby games to watch Man City might sway them a little bit if we put one past them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you beat them, and yeah, you got a whole new bunch of fans. Plus, I mean, Pride Park is a difficult place to play when the crowd is up, isn't it, Kieran? So you just never know. But yeah, let's talk about transfers then. Last week you talked about you talked about a particular player, and you've tweeted about it this week. So rumours are that Derby are close to the signing of Harvey Nibs from Reading. How close do you see that being?
I just feel like there's so much fire, to fuel that rumor. I fingers crossed. He's a player I really like. I thought it might have been an interesting signing once he was. I don't know if he was released by Cambridge in the middle of after last season. I'm not too sure, but I think it would be a great signing. I know he played against Burnley in the FA Cup, but from what I read from the Reading fans, it looked like maybe his head was somewhere else. So fingers crossed that's a sign we can get over the line, because I think he is a player who could make that step up from League One to Championship quite well.
There were some that disagreed, Kieran. You may have seen some of these. Rich says he would struggle in the Championship, and Ben says it screams Nick Blackman. How do you respond to that?
I mean, hopefully not akin to Nick Blackman. Then Reading fans would really have one on us. But no, I don't know. I feel like you've got to give a player a chance, and I feel there's a lot of Oxford players who have made that step up from League One to the Championship. I didn't think they would do so well, but they have. And so I think if you've got to give a player a chance. If he comes to Derby and he fails, so be it. But yeah, I personally think he looks like a really, really good player.
Okay. What about other transfer rumours, Peyton? Are you hearing ins and outs?
So as to outs, Joe Ward's probably been spoken about last week. Obviously, I wasn't here, but I'm guessing, is on his way out. There was a rumor that Coleman Washington was going, but I think he's got injured again, which means that he'll probably take him a bit longer if he is to go. If not, then he probably will be released. And I think the last one is Cory Blackett-Taylor, but obviously he doesn't want to go to League One. And the only two Championship clubs that are in for him, we don't really want to sell to because they're Portsmouth and Oxford, and we don't want to strengthen a relegation rival with a player.
Yeah.
And then I think with incomings, there's a big one. Richard Kone from Wickham. You've probably heard about him. He's like second top goal scorer in the league and all this. I think we're slowly pushing the transfer fee up for him, but they want quite a big fee, and we aren't going to spend a lot. So that might not happen.
Okay. Interesting times ahead. Kieran, any more from that you're hearing, or to add to anything Peyton said there?
I'm hearing that we are also interested in another Reading player. I think it's Sam Smith. I could have got that wrong, but yeah. I think he looks like an interesting player. I've not seen too much about him compared to the other lad, but yeah, he I've read some of his stats. He looks like a player, but again, I'm not sure if he's any better than what we have off the bench. So I'm a little bit hesitant on that one.
Okay, let us know all your rumours in the comments. In the comments below. Thank you very much, both of you, for that. Let's get your December Player of the Month before we talk about the game this weekend, if that's all right. And we know the club have already awarded theirs, but Peyton, so do you agree? And who would you have given it to if not?
I don't think the club have done a December Player of the Month. I don't think we do it.
Have they not done it? Oh, right. Have they not done it? Okay.
I don't think we've done Player of the Month much this year, but I think if I had to say anyone, I'd probably just go with the... Actually, no. I think I'm going to go with a different... I'm going to go Nat Phillips, because I think he's been really, really good for us and has stepped up really well when Cashin got injured earlier in the month. And he's been very solid all month. So I'll go Nat Phillips.
Kieran?
I think Nat Phillips has been class as well, actually. But I'll give it to Ibury Adams. I think that performance against Burnley, because I really thought Burnley were just going to standard beat us, but I thought he was very strong. And given that morning of that game, I believe he just welcomed a new child as well. So, he was fantastic. And I think he's averaged about a 7.5 rating on Sofa Score. I think he's been a class act, especially against Portsmouth as well, which, was brilliant.
Good show. Right, then it's Watford then this weekend. Let's have a look at how that went last time you met them. This was, of course, back in August. I think it was match game week 3 or game week 4. It was Ebu Adams who scored and took the lead, and then of course they came back. Peyton, looking at this side that rocked up to Vicarage Road, how different in what good ways and bad ways is the team? How the team is looking now compared to how it was in game week 4?
Honestly, there's not all that much. Well, no, there's an obvious big difference, and that's the fact that Sonny Bradley doesn't play for us anymore. But I think we'll probably go for a very similar. Well, not very similar because there's a couple injuries, but quite the majority of those players are now back from injury. So I think it'll be the more established back four that we've had for a while, with Adams, Howmine, and probably Osborne in midfield, and then the front three that we've kind of stuck with recently, which is the front three that we stuck with in that game with Jackson, Mendes-Lang and Yates. So I think not going to be too much different, but they'll be a little bit different. The system's a little bit more. The midfield's a bit further up the pitch, and the 10's a bit further back, so it's more of a midfield three.
Kieran, another home game where you are stronger against a Watford side that don't travel well. They are in imperious form at home, but away from home they are awful. This is one you take 3 points from. You wouldn't take a draw, would you, if I offered it now?
I think we can win. And what I'm worried about, though, is that I'm sure Watford have Festi Ebeselli and Tom Ince on their books. And if there's something about Derby, and Peyton will understand this, it seems like former players always just score against us or do something against us. So I don't know. I'm hesitant about those two, but I think we 100% can get a result against Watford. And especially now, 100%.
Yeah, you got to look after the pacer, haven't they? They've got some of the paciest wingers and paciest forwards in the division. So if you handle that, then actually you can stop a lot of stop a lot of their attacks. And of course, we'll be reviewing that, of course, in seven days' time. If you haven't yet come across the channel, we'd love you to subscribe. Where our target is to get to 50 by the end of this month. If you can help us do that, that is absolutely massive. Thank you very much. Right, we did ask AI guys over the last week to predict all the remaining Derby County games. All the county home games, to see if you would manage to stay up. Here's what happened. Firstly, if we have a look at your run-in, Kieran, I'm a little bit concerned because you've got of the 9 games, 10 games you've got left. You've still got to play Sunderland, Sheffield United, Blackburn, and Burnley all at home. And then of the other games, all of the rest of them, apart from perhaps Millwall and Coventry, are against sides down at the bottom there, which are going to be relegation 6-pointers. So, there's a lot of points to pick up, but is every game going to be like an FA Cup final? Do you think?
When you're in a relegation battle, it always is, and we cannot hesitate. We cannot, be complacent in any way, shape, or form. I remember when we stayed up when I think we had Wayne Rooney, when it was, I think, COVID restrictions. We had an awful form running into that final game of the season, and I really wouldn't be surprised if it went all the way down to the wire. Although sometimes, I don't know what it is about Derby, but I feel like we tend to do a little bit better against those clubs at the higher end of the table, but then weirdly we struggle against those that are nearer to us. So it's going to be a mixed bag. Every game will be really, really competitive, and I think given all the players coming back from injury, a few January signings, we should have enough. We should do it.
Okay. All right. Well, AI says you're going to lose against Sheffield United, lose against Burnley, but then you'll pick up points in every other game, totaling, Peyton, 22 points, which should see you safe, wouldn't it? You'd take that right now.
I think I wouldn't take a draw against Stoke, but I mean, there's some fixtures there that I think they're not right about, like Sunderland. I don't think we're going to get much of anything against Sunderland because they look absolutely quality and have just signed a Premier League quality midfielder, which I've heard some people saying is the biggest Championship signing ever, which I think can't really rival the fact we signed Wayne Rooney, but yeah, I think it's getting up there, but not the top.
So you're saying AI's got this wrong, that there's no way you're getting 22 points from those 12 games?
I think we can get 22 points, but I think some of the results are going to be a little bit different.
Okay.
Maybe. I mean, I'd take 22 points. I think that puts us just under the 60 mark, I think.
Yeah,
which is comfortable.
It would definitely see you safe, especially if you're beating the teams around you. All right, thank you for that one. Last one this week then is we are having a bit of fun in January because it's such a rubbish month, isn't it? So we are trying to put together an 11 which represents the worst of Derby County over the 20 years the Championship has existed, starting, of course, with the goalkeeper at the back. So we're doing a flat 4-4-2. Next week we'll do strikers, so join us for that. But we need a goalkeeper. Kieran, who's the worst goalkeeper in 20 years that you've seen?
I think I'm going to give her a name, but I think it's a mean one because I don't think he was really given a chance. I think he was a recruit from Nigel Clough from Burton. And I think I've read he did very well against Manchester United in the Cup over a decade ago now. I'm trying to remember his name. I think it was Saul Deeney. I could be wrong, something like that. But yeah, I think he would probably be the worst one. I don't think he ever even finished a game for Derby. I think he came on against Reading and then he got injured or sent off. And I think we had to bring Robbie Savage on. And Robbie Savage ended up being better than him. So yeah, I'll say him, but I'm sure there's others.
Okay, Peyton.
I'm gonna have to go with one from the absolute catastrophe that was when we were just before the season before we got relegated. Ben Hamer. Somehow he's got another Championship gig, and he was certainly a goalkeeper somehow. but he was awful for us. And I think he got a run of games, and I don't think we won a single one. And we conceded a lot of goals.
Okay.
So I think I'd go Ben Hamer.
All right. Let us know if you can beat either of those two by putting a comment below. Let us know, and then we'll build up these this worst 11. Get thinking of your two strikers for next week. The two strikers that couldn't hit a cow's backside with you know what. Thank you both of you two. Enjoy the game against Watford. It's not a TV game, is it? This one is this 3 o'clock on a Saturday?
3 o'clock on a Saturday.
Brilliant, as it should be. Good. Right. Enjoy the game. We'll catch you in 7 days.